Galactic Council shocked when a human pets the apex predator. The Galactic Council chamber was full of tension. It was a massive hall with rows of seats arranged in a circle, each occupied by representatives from different planets. Above the center of the room floated a hologram of the creature causing all the commotion. The creature, known as the apex predator, was enormous. Its scales reflected light in strange colors, its eyes glowed faintly, and its claws looked sharp enough to tear through anything. Even in the hologram, it looked terrifying. Zurtal, a tall reptilian alien with green, scaly skin, stood at the center podium. They leaned forward, gripping the edges with their clawed hands. This creature is a menace. It destroyed an entire research station and 2 fleets that tried to contain it. We cannot take chances. The only solution is to destroy it before it escapes. Another representative, Chernine, an insect-like alien with a shiny, segmented body, shook their head. Their voice clicked and buzzed, but was steady and calm. Destroying it would be a mistake. This creature is unlike anything we've seen before. Its behavior and abilities could teach us things we've never understood about life in the galaxy. The room filled with noise as dozens of representatives began speaking at once. Some agreed with Zurtal, shouting that the predator was too dangerous. Others supported Chernine, arguing that it would be a waste to destroy something so unique. A few simply shook their heads, unsure what to do. Crawl, a bird-like alien with bright feathers, stood from their seat and raised their voice above the others. You're all underestimating how dangerous this thing is. If it escapes, this station will be the first to fall. It's only a matter of time. The arguments grew louder. Many of the council members glanced nervously at the hologram as if the predator might somehow break through its digital display and attack them. Fear and frustration filled the air. Among all the noise, one person stayed quiet. Alex, the human ambassador, sat calmly in their seat. Their expression was thoughtful, and their eyes stayed fixed on the hologram of the predator. Unlike the others, Alex didn't seem scared. Instead, they looked curious. The humans were still new to the Galactic Council, and their strange way of thinking often confused other species. Finally, Vrexen, the council's leader, raised one of their shining crystal arms. The room instantly fell silent. Vrexen's voice was steady and layered, a sound that demanded attention. We must make a decision soon. The predator is contained for now, but that will not last forever. Does anyone have a different solution to propose? The entire council turned their eyes to Alex. It was rare for a human to speak, but when they did, it often left an impression. Alex stood slowly, their calm gaze sweeping across the room. Their voice, clear and steady, cut through the silence as they began to speak. Alex stood calmly as all eyes in the Galactic Council chamber turned toward them. Humans were still new to the galactic stage, and their presence often drew mixed reactions from other species. Some saw humans as unpredictable, while others admired their boldness. Alex, however, was known for their unique approach to problems, an approach that often confused but intrigued other council members. Alex wasn't like the other ambassadors. They didn't wear elaborate clothing or carry ornate tools that symbolized rank. Instead, Alex's attire was practical and plain, a simple uniform that reflected their straightforward nature. With short, well-kept hair and sharp, observant eyes, Alex carried themselves with quiet confidence. Despite the tension in the room, they seemed completely at ease. Alex had earned their seat at the council not through power or wealth, but because of their skills in understanding other species. Their background in xenobiology and diplomacy gave them a unique perspective on the challenges faced by the Galactic Council. Where others saw threats and obstacles, Alex often saw solutions that most species wouldn't consider. As Alex prepared to speak, the Council's attention shifted from the hologram of the apex predator to the human standing in their midst. Whispers rippled through the room, some curious, others doubtful. Humans as a whole were still seen as newcomers to the intergalactic community. Many council members regarded them with skepticism, while a few couldn't hide their outright mistrust. Crawl, the bird-like representative, muttered under their breath, their feathers puffing slightly. What could a human possibly offer to this discussion? Ignoring the murmurs, Alex began to speak. Their tone was calm and steady, carrying just enough weight to command the room's attention. I've listened to everything said here today, and I agree, this predator is dangerous. But we're approaching this the wrong way. Fear won't solve this problem. Destruction won't teach us anything. The room grew quiet again as Alex continued. Their calm demeanor and unexpected perspective had already started to shift the mood in the chamber. The human ambassador wasn't like the others. They didn't rely on fear or force. Instead, they were known for their ability to connect, to see what others couldn't, and to act on ideas that others found too strange or risky to consider. This, after all, was what made Alex different, and why they had a plan no one else had dared to suggest. The Galactic Council chamber dimmed as the containment chamber, holding the apex predator, was brought into view. All attention turned to the wide doors at the back of the room, which slid open with a hiss, revealing the predator restrained inside a glowing energy field. The room fell into an uneasy silence as the creature was moved into the center of the chamber. Even though the energy barrier kept the predator immobilized, it still radiated raw power. The predator's body was massive, its muscles rippling beneath shimmering scales that seemed to change color with every movement. Its eyes glowed faintly, sharp and alert, scanning the room as if it could see every fear hidden within the council members. Its claws, long and razor-sharp, twitched slightly, making the barrier flicker as it tested its strength against the containment field. The air in the chamber grew heavy. Many representatives instinctively leaned back in their seats, their expressions a mix of fear and awe. The predator let out a low growl, a deep rumble that seemed to shake the floor, causing a few delegates to flinch. Zurtal, the reptilian diplomat, stepped forward and gestured toward the predator with one clawed hand. Their voice, loud and sharp, echoed across the chamber. This is the apex predator, the most dangerous creature ever encountered. Its capture cost us 2 fleets, and its containment is barely holding. Even now, it tests the limits of our technology. The predator's growl grew louder, and the energy barrier shimmered as if strained by the creature's presence. Several council members exchanged nervous glances. Crawl, the bird-like delegate, ruffled their feathers in clear discomfort. This thing is a disaster waiting to happen. It's only a matter of time before it breaks free. Chernine, the insectoid analyst, clicked their mandibles thoughtfully, their multifaceted eyes fixed on the creature. Its strength is undeniable. However, its behavior is not purely aggressive. The records show it attacked only when provoked. We must consider the possibility that its actions are defensive rather than purely destructive. Defensive? Crawl squawked in disbelief. It tore through a warship as if it were paper. What kind of defense is that? The predator shifted slightly, its glowing eyes locking onto Crawl. The bird-like alien froze, their feathers standing on end as if they feared the creature could hear and understand them. Alex, still seated, watched the predator with an expression that was unreadable but calm. They seemed unfazed by the creature's size, strength, or reputation. Unlike the others, who were overwhelmed by fear, Alex studied the predator's movements closely, their sharp eyes catching every detail. Zurtal turned toward the council. This creature represents everything we fear in the wild. It is the ultimate predator, designed to hunt, to kill, and to dominate its environment. To allow it to live is reckless. It must be destroyed before it destroys us. The council chamber erupted into a chorus of arguments. Some members shouted in agreement, demanding immediate action, while others argued for more study. Chernine spoke calmly, though their voice was drowned out by the chaos. Crawl's feathers were still puffed up, and they continued to insist that no containment could hold such a creature indefinitely. The predator growled again, louder this time, and even the council's most composed members recoiled slightly. Its powerful presence made it clear that this was no ordinary beast. This was something that challenged everything the galaxy thought it understood about survival and danger. Vrexen, the crystalline leader of the council, raised a glowing limb to silence the room. Their voice, steady and layered, cut through the noise. Enough. The predator's strength and potential threat are undeniable. But we must act with care. This chamber will not descend into panic. As silence fell, all eyes turned toward Alex. While the rest of the council debated and panicked, the human ambassador had been quietly watching. Their calmness in the face of the predator's power was unusual, and it did not go unnoticed. Slowly, Alex rose from their seat, their gaze steady as they addressed the council. Everyone sees danger when they look at this creature, Alex began, their voice firm but not loud. But have you stopped to ask why it behaves this way? If we destroy it without understanding it, we may lose something more valuable than we realize. The chamber grew quiet again, not from fear this time, but from curiosity. The predator growled softly, its glowing eyes still fixed on the human who, unlike the others, showed no fear. The council chamber buzzed with tense whispers. The predator, still growling faintly within its energy field, seemed to loom larger than ever, its powerful form casting a heavy shadow over the room. The council members exchanged nervous glances, their earlier arguments now quieter, but no less heated. Zur-Tal, the reptilian diplomat, broke the silence. We've debated long enough. This creature is a disaster waiting to happen. We must destroy it before it becomes our undoing. Crawl, feathers still ruffled, nodded in agreement. I second that. It's not worth the risk. The longer we wait, the more dangerous this thing becomes. Chernine, the insectoid analyst, clicked their mandibles thoughtfully. If destruction is the only solution, we lose the chance to study its unique biology. Its defensive responses are unlike anything in the known galaxy. That knowledge could be invaluable. Before the arguments could start again, Alex stood up from their seat. The room immediately fell silent. There was something about the human ambassador's calm presence that always commanded attention. Alex took a step forward, their movements steady and deliberate. I volunteer to approach the predator, Alex said, their voice clear and unwavering. The room erupted into chaos. Council members shouted in disbelief, their voices overlapping in a cacophony of protests. Zur-Tal's claws scratched at the podium as they hissed angrily. That is the most reckless thing I have ever heard. You'll get yourself killed, and likely the rest of us with you. Crawl flapped their wings nervously. Are all humans this irrational? You'll provoke it. Chernine tilted their head, their antennae twitching. This is unorthodox. What do you hope to achieve, human? Alex raised a hand, and the room gradually quieted. They stepped closer to the center of the chamber, their calm gaze sweeping across the council. We've been treating this predator like it's a mindless beast. But what if it's not? What if its behavior isn't about aggression but fear? Fear? Zur-Tal scoffed. That thing doesn't know fear, it creates it. Alex shook their head. Every creature knows fear, even the strongest ones. We've backed this predator into a corner. It's reacting the only way it knows how, by defending itself. Let me approach it, not as a threat, but as someone trying to understand it. Crawl squawked in disbelief. You can't be serious. It'll tear you apart. Alex gave a small, calm smile. Maybe, but we won't know unless we try. Vrexen, the crystalline council leader, raised a glowing limb to restore order. Their layered voice carried a sense of authority. Human, you are aware of the risk. If you fail, it could jeopardize not only your life, but the safety of this chamber. Alex nodded without hesitation. I understand, but I believe this predator is more than we think it is. If I'm wrong, you'll have your answer. If I'm right, we gain something far more valuable than fear. The room fell silent again. The council members exchanged uneasy glances, some doubtful, others intrigued. Finally, Vrexen spoke. Very well. Your request is granted, under strict supervision. Proceed with caution. Alex stepped forward, eyes locked on the predator, ready to prove that understanding, not fear, could change everything. The council chamber was silent as Alex moved toward the predator's containment field. The energy barrier shimmered faintly, holding the creature in place. Its massive form loomed larger with every step Alex took. The predator's glowing eyes locked onto the human, its growl growing louder, reverberating through the chamber like distant thunder. The council members watched in a mix of fear and disbelief. Zurtal's claws gripped the edge of their podium tightly. This is madness, they muttered, their voice low but filled with anger. The human will get themselves killed. Crawl, unable to hide their nervousness, ruffled their feathers and whispered, I still don't understand why we're allowing this. Vrexen's voice, calm but firm, echoed through the chamber. The decision has been made. Observe and remain silent. Alex stopped a few steps away from the barrier, close enough to feel the faint heat radiating from the predator's containment field. They raised their hands slowly, palms facing outward in a gesture of peace. The predator's growls softened for a moment, replaced by a low, rumbling sound that was hard to interpret. Hello there, Alex said softly, their voice steady but kind. I'm not here to hurt you. The predator tilted its massive head slightly, its eyes narrowing as it observed Alex. It let out another rumble, this one less threatening, though it still carried the weight of its immense power. The council chamber was so quiet now that even the faint hum of the energy field seemed loud. Alex crouched slightly, lowering themselves to appear less imposing. Their voice remained calm. I know you're scared. All of this, being trapped, surrounded by people who don't understand you. It's not your fault. You're just trying to survive. The predator blinked slowly. Its growls faded into silence, and it stopped pacing. It stood still, watching Alex, with an intensity that made the council members hold their breath. Zurtal leaned over to Chernine and whispered harshly, This is a waste of time. It's just waiting for the right moment to strike. Chernine, their antennae twitching with curiosity, replied in a quiet tone, and yet it hasn't attacked. Fascinating. Alex reached out toward the containment field, but didn't touch it. Instead, they continued speaking. You're stronger than anything here, but strength doesn't mean you have to fight. I'm not going to hurt you. I just want to help. The predator tilted its head again, letting out a soft rumble. Its massive claws flexed but didn't strike, and its tail, which had been twitching aggressively, stilled. For a moment, it seemed to be studying Alex as much as Alex was studying it. The council members began whispering again, their voices filled with nervous energy. What's happening? Crawl asked, their feathers puffed. Why hasn't it attacked yet? Maybe it's confused, Zurtal suggested bitterly. Or maybe it's waiting for the human to make a mistake. Ignoring the chatter, Alex straightened up slightly and turned to face Vrexen. Lower the field just a little. Gasps filled the room. Crawl squawked loudly. Absolutely not. That's insanity. Zurtal hissed. This is going too far. Even Chernine looked uncertain. The statistical likelihood of survival is minimal. Vrexen raised a crystalline hand, silencing the protests. Their glowing form turned toward Alex. You understand the risk? I do, Alex said firmly. But if this creature is as intelligent as I think it is, it will sense my intentions. Trust me. After a moment of hesitation, Vrexen gave the signal. The containment field flickered and lowered slightly, just enough to give the predator room to move freely, but not enough to escape. The predator stepped forward, its massive body looming over Alex. The council held their breath, certain this was the moment Alex would meet their end. But instead of attacking, the predator stopped. Its glowing eyes softened as it lowered its head slightly toward Alex. Alex extended a hand, stopping just short of the creature's massive snout. "See," they whispered. "You're not alone. You don't have to be afraid." The predator sniffed Alex's hand, letting out a low, rumbling sound that was almost gentle. For the first time, the predator appeared calm. The council chamber was silent, filled with stunned disbelief as Alex stood, unarmed and unafraid, just inches from the galaxy's most feared creature. The chamber was silent except for the faint hum of the containment field and the low, guttural sounds of the predator. All eyes were on Alex, who stood mere inches away from the galaxy's most feared creature. The predator's glowing eyes bore into Alex, its massive frame radiating power. Every council member braced for disaster, many too afraid to even speak. Alex stood motionless, their hand extended toward the predator, palm open. "It's okay," they said softly, their voice steady and calm. "I'm not here to hurt you." The predator tilted its massive head slightly, the movement slow and deliberate. It sniffed the air around Alex's hand, its glowing eyes narrowing as if assessing the human standing before it. Its claws flexed, scraping lightly against the floor, causing several council members to flinch in their seats. The tension in the room was suffocating. Zurtal's voice hissed through the quiet. "This is foolishness. The predator is simply waiting to strike." Crawl ruffled their feathers nervously. "The human won't last another second. It's over." Alex ignored the murmurs from the council. Their entire focus remained on the predator. They kept their breathing steady, their movements slow. "You don't want to fight, do you?" Alex spoke softly, as if addressing a frightened animal rather than a deadly apex predator. "You're just scared." The predator let out a low rumble that reverberated through the chamber. It was not a growl, but something softer, almost a questioning sound. Slowly, it lowered its massive head closer to Alex's outstretched hand. The glowing eyes blinked, and the predator let out a huff of warm air. The council watched in stunned silence as Alex's hand made contact with the creature. They placed their palm gently against the predator's snout. The predator's scales were rough but warm, and it didn't pull away or react aggressively. Instead, it let out a low, vibrating sound that could only be described as contentment. Gasps filled the chamber. Crawl nearly fell off their seat. What is happening?" Zurtal's claws scraped the podium as they leaned forward, their eyes wide with disbelief. "Impossible." Even Chernine, usually calm and logical, clicked their mandibles rapidly in surprise. "This defies all predictive models." Such behavior was not anticipated. Alex kept their hand on the predator's snout, stroking it gently. They spoke in a low, soothing tone. "You're not a monster. You've been treated like one, but I see you. You're more than they think you are." The predator closed its eyes for a moment, leaning slightly into Alex's touch. Its massive body relaxed visibly, the tension in its muscles fading. The once deafening growls that had filled the chamber were now replaced by a low, rhythmic sound, almost like a purr. Zurtal slammed their fist against the podium, breaking the stunned silence. "This doesn't change anything. That creature is still a threat. It's just playing along." But Alex turned toward the council, their expression calm but firm. "Does this look like aggression to you?" They gestured toward the predator, now lying down, its head resting near Alex's feet. "This isn't the behavior of a mindless killer. It's trust." Crawl squawked, their voice rising in panic. "Trust? It's a trick. It's luring you in." Chernine tilted their head, their antennae twitching. Statistically, this level of trust-building behavior is rare in apex species. Yet, it cannot be denied that this is extraordinary. Vrexen, the crystalline leader, raised a glowing limb to silence the murmurs. "Explain yourself, human. Why has this creature responded to you in a way no one predicted?" Alex turned back to the predator, giving it one last, gentle stroke before standing tall. Because I treated it like something more than a problem to be solved or an enemy to be destroyed. I gave it a chance to show what it's really like. Zurtal growled, their voice filled with frustration. You gamble with lives. What if you were wrong? Alex looked directly at Zurtal, their gaze steady. If I was wrong, you'd still have the same argument you've been making all day. But I wasn't. This predator isn't attacking because it doesn't need to. It was acting out of fear, not malice. The predator let out a low rumble and nudged Alex gently with its massive head, as if confirming their words. More gasps rippled through the chamber. Even the most skeptical council members couldn't deny what they were seeing. This creature doesn't want to destroy us, Alex continued, addressing the room. It wants to survive just like all of us. But it's been treated like a monster, so it fought back. Show it trust, show it respect, and it will return the same. Vrexen studied Alex carefully, their crystalline form shimmering faintly. You have risked much, human, and the outcome is remarkable. But what does this mean for the future? Alex looked down at the predator, which was now resting peacefully beside them. It means we stop reacting with fear and start thinking with understanding. This isn't just about the predator, it's about how we approach everything we don't understand. Fear destroys, but trust builds. The room fell silent again. The predator let out one final, soft rumble before closing its glowing eyes, content to remain beside the human who had shown it kindness. Alex stood tall, facing the council with unwavering confidence. The impossible had happened, and the galaxy's deadliest creature had shown its softer side, all because one human dared to believe in something greater than fear. The chamber was silent for several long moments after Alex's interaction with the predator. The massive creature, now calm and resting beside Alex, seemed completely different from the feral, terrifying beast the council had feared. The room, however, remained tense, filled with disbelief and uncertainty. Zurtal broke the silence first, their sharp voice filled with anger. This changes nothing. That creature is dangerous, no matter how it's acting now. We cannot let our guard down because of one human's foolish gamble. Crawl squawked loudly, still visibly shaken. Zurtal is right. Just because it's quiet now doesn't mean it won't lash out later. It's probably waiting for the perfect moment to attack. Chernine, the insectoid analyst, raised a hand to silence them both. Their tone was calm but thoughtful. I do not agree. What we've witnessed defies all previous observations. This predator displayed behaviors that suggest intelligence, not mere instinct. It is clear that the human's actions have had a profound effect. Zurtal hissed. It's manipulation, nothing more. It's biding its time. Chernine clicked their mandibles. If it were purely instinct-driven, it would have struck already. Instead, it is showing trust, something we did not think this creature was capable of. The council erupted into arguments, voices clashing as delegates took sides. Some echoed Zurtal's fears, insisting the predator was too dangerous to keep alive. Others, like Chernine, urged caution, pointing to the creature's unexpected response as proof of its complexity. Vrexen, the crystalline leader, raised their glowing arm, and the chamber fell silent again. Their voice, steady and deliberate, filled the room. Enough. What we have seen here today is unprecedented. But we cannot let emotions, either fear or hope, guide our decisions. We must consider the facts. Vrexen turned to Alex, their crystalline form shimmering faintly. Human, you have achieved what no one thought possible. Explain to us. How did you gain the predator's trust? Alex met Vrexen's gaze and spoke with calm confidence. I treated it like it wasn't just a monster. I gave it a chance to show what it could be, not what we feared it was. Every living being reacts to the way it's treated. If we act with fear, we get fear in return. If we act with respect, we might get something better. The council members exchanged glances. Some looked skeptical, while others seemed thoughtful. Even Zurtal appeared momentarily unsure, though their expression quickly hardened again. Krall's feathers ruffled, as they spoke hesitantly. But what does this mean for the future? Can we really trust this creature? Chernine tilted their head, their antennae twitching. If the predator is capable of trust, it is also capable of learning. This could change everything we know about such species. Vrexen nodded slowly. Perhaps. Or perhaps not. What is clear is that this moment has given us something to consider. Fear may no longer be our only option. The predator, still lying beside Alex, let out a low, peaceful sound, as if agreeing with the sentiment. The council watched in silence, the weight of the moment settling over them. For the first time, doubt began to creep into their rigid assumptions. The predator, once seen only as a threat, had revealed a side no one had expected. The question now was whether the galaxy was ready to accept it. Alex stood in the center of the chamber, the predator resting calmly beside them. The council members watched in stunned silence, some still tense with fear, others beginning to see the creature in a new light. Alex took a deep breath before addressing the room. "This predator is not what we thought it was," Alex began, their voice clear and steady. "We've treated it as a threat, assuming its actions were driven by malice. But what we've seen today tells a different story. This creature doesn't want to destroy, it wants to survive." The predator rumbled softly, as if affirming Alex's words. The sound made a few council members flinch, but Alex remained calm, gesturing toward the massive creature. "Its strength, its aggression, those aren't signs of evil. They're signs of fear and instinct. Imagine being pulled from your home, surrounded by beings you don't understand, and treated like a weapon. Wouldn't you fight back too?" Zurtal sneered, their voice sharp. "You speak as though this thing is a rational being. It's an apex predator. It knows nothing but killing." Alex shook their head. "That's where you're wrong. Look at it now. It's calm because I didn't treat it like a mindless beast. I treated it with respect, and it responded in kind. That's not instinct, that's trust." Chernine clicked their mandibles thoughtfully. Trust in a predator. It is a perspective none of us considered. Yet, the results are undeniable. Alex stepped closer to the predator, their hand resting gently on its massive head. "This isn't just about this one creature. It's about how we approach the unknown. Fear leads to destruction. Respect and understanding lead to something better. If we can trust, even when it feels dangerous, we might find solutions we never imagined." Crawl, still hesitant, ruffled their feathers nervously. But what happens when trust isn't enough? Alex looked directly at Crawl, their gaze unwavering. "Sometimes it won't be, but if we always choose fear, we'll never know what could have been. This creature could be more than a predator. It could be an ally, even a protector. But only if we give it a chance." The council was quiet, their usual certainty shaken. Alex's words hung in the air, forcing them to reconsider everything they thought they knew. For the first time, the apex predator was no longer seen as just a threat. It was something new, something worth understanding. The chamber remained silent as Alex's words settled over the council. The predator lay motionless, its glowing eyes half closed, a picture of calm and trust. Slowly, Vrexen, the crystalline leader, stood, their glowing form shimmering faintly as they addressed the assembly. "What we have seen today is unlike anything in our history," Vrexen began, their voice resonating with layered tones. "This predator, once thought to be a mindless threat, has shown us a side we could not have predicted. And it was a human unpredictable and bold. Who made this possible?" Zurtal scowled, their claws scraping the edge of their podium. "This changes nothing. The creature remains dangerous. We cannot forget what it has done." Alex stepped forward, their voice calm but firm. "And we shouldn't forget. But we also shouldn't let fear dictate every decision. This creature fought because it was cornered, not because it wanted to destroy. If we continue treating it as a monster, that's all it will ever be. But if we give it a chance, we might discover something incredible." Chernine clicked their mandibles thoughtfully. There is logic in the human's perspective. If this predator can respond to trust, it may also be capable of cooperation. That is worth investigating. Vrexen nodded. Agreed. Destruction is not the only path forward. The predator will be relocated to a controlled natural environment where it can live without posing a threat. Further observation will be conducted to better understand its behavior. Crawl flapped their wings nervously. And if it breaks free? Vrexen's voice was calm but decisive. If that happens, we will address it with the knowledge we have gained today. But for now, we will not act out of fear. Alex glanced at the predator, their hand resting lightly on its massive head. You won't regret this decision. This creature isn't just a threat. It's proof that understanding is always worth the risk. The council murmured quietly, some still hesitant, but most seemed swayed by Alex's words and the undeniable change in the predator's behavior. Even Zurtal, though still scowling, refrained from further argument. As the predator was gently guided out of the chamber under strict containment, it turned its head slightly, nudging Alex one last time. The gesture was subtle but unmistakable, a silent acknowledgement of the trust that had been formed. The chamber's tension eased, replaced by a sense of cautious hope. Humanity, with its strange and unexpected ways, had once again shown the galaxy the power of empathy. As the predator was led away from the chamber, the council remained silent, watching in awe. The creature, once seen as a force of destruction, had shown a side none of them expected. Alex stood in the center of the room, their calm presence a stark contrast to the earlier chaos. Vrexen, the crystalline leader, rose from their seat and addressed the council. Today, we have witnessed something extraordinary. This event will shape how we approach the unknown, not with fear, but with caution and understanding. Zurtal muttered under their breath, but said nothing more. Even they could not argue against the undeniable change in the predator's behavior. Chernine, still clicking their mandibles thoughtfully, added, "This moment is one for our records. It reminds us that logic alone cannot always predict outcomes. Sometimes, perspective must shift." Crawl, still uneasy, ruffled their feathers and spoke hesitantly. Humans, they truly are unpredictable. Perhaps there is value in their methods, even if they are reckless. Alex, now standing at ease, smiled faintly. Unpredictable maybe, but sometimes unpredictability is what we need to move forward. Today, we learned that fear doesn't have to be the only answer. The predator's soft growl echoed faintly as it disappeared through the chamber doors. Its behavior had changed, not because of containment or control, but because someone dared to trust it. The council, though still divided, was left to reflect on the power of that choice. As Alex turned to leave, they looked back at the council one last time. The galaxy is full of challenges like this. If we keep approaching them with fear, we'll miss opportunities to learn and grow. Let's not make that mistake again. The chamber doors closed, and the council remained in thoughtful silence. A new perspective had begun to take root.